News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I got to tell you something. Israel may, in fact, strike and take out the Iranian oil refineries. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have removed the sanctions on Iran that allows them to pump oil at a level insanely higher than when Trump let them, when Trump was in office. When Trump was in office, the last day he left, Iran was pumping 300,000 barrels a day. Today, and for ever since Joe Biden came into office, Iran has been pumping 1,300,000 barrels of oil a day. That is 3% of the world's oil. Joe Biden has given Iran, which kills Jews and Americans for its main goal, they have given him, and is trying to have a nuclear weapon. They're getting closer and closer. They're a week or two from having enough nuclear fissile material to make a nuclear bomb. And then they are months away, somewhere around 6 or so months away from, maybe a little bit longer, from putting that on a warhead so they can deliver it. They do have hypersonic missiles already. They launched 181 at Israel. There are many American dual citizens living in Israel, and Israel is our dearest ally before Britain, and they should be. So, and Israel is doing the work of killing our terrorists. There were the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, they assassinated this past week or so, and he is responsible for killing 242 Marines, soldiers, and sailors and civilians at the Marine Corps barrack bombing in '83 in Lebanon. He is also responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, providing bombs and killing hundreds of thousands of Jews, and many bombings across the world. So you got him. He's out. And now today, what's amazing, just today, there's on my list on Twitter, you can see, got a huge list of the top 30 or 20 Hezbollah leaders, and all of them are dead now. And in fact, the replacement to step up for the main guy, Hassan Nasrallah, was killed today. So you know what? They blow up so young, it's just terrible. So there they are, and there they go. Now Joe Biden is trying to put the genital cuffs on Israel. Israel may strike their nuclear program. Israel may strike their refinery program. Israel may, and I'm talking about Iran. That's who's funding all this terrorism, including Hamas in Gaza. And the Yemeni Houthis, who have ruined shipping in the Red Sea, and they have also shut down the Suez Canal abilities to go beyond there into the Red Sea. And they have we are at the highest level of combat our Navy is since World War II, according to the admiral in charge of that whole part of the world. And it's because of the Yemens and Houthi and Iran training them and arming them with ballistics, missiles, and drones. So Joe Biden refuses to stop them too. Trump had the genital cuffs on them. Biden took them off right away. Same thing with Iran. Joe Biden has given Iran $100 billion, which it financed to slaughter the Jews on October 7th, including many of our Americans and many American hostages, including Hersh Goldberg-Powen, who was just shot and killed just moments before being freed. And many of our Americans are still under Gaza in a tunnel right now, and Joe Biden's doing nothing to free them. But he is publicly saying, no, Israel should not hit their nuclear facilities. No, they should not do this. No, they should not do that. They should show restraint. Israel's been blowing them off. And now, behold the headlines from The Atlantic. Iran is not ready for war with Israel. A former PM, shortly after the big missile barrage that just went in the other day, 181 ballistic missiles, including hypersonics, Benjamin Netanyahu, prime minister, publicly said Iran had made a big mistake and would pay for it. Former Israeli PM Naftali Bennett called on Netanyahu to attack Iran's nuclear and energy sites, claiming it could lead Iranians to rise up and break down their regime at last, because the people are awesome. The administration is not. They're terrorists. Israel had no better choice, The Atlantic says, in a half century to change the region fundamentally. Wall Street Journal says Biden protects Israel's nuclear program. Iran's. Biden protects Iran's nuclear program. I will get into that. It's shocking how bold they are and how bad Biden is. Oil is now surging after Biden says the U.S. is discussing an Israeli attack on Iranian facilities. This is the time to do it. It is insane how weak Iran is now, according to the Atlantic, according to the Wall Street Journal. It is time. It is the Iran surefire to keep Israel at bay was Hezbollah. They are freaking getting toasted. They are getting smoked. Hamas, most of their leadership, except for one, is dead. They are not a threat, much of a threat. They're barely a threat anymore. So now you can focus on Iran for the second time, attacking them ad infinitum. They went so easy on them when they attacked last time with 101 ballistics. This time, 181 with hypersonics. It's over. BBC says, Chance, I want him to take it. Do you? Should Israel act proportionally, quote unquote, as Joe Biden is saying, which is a joke and a disgrace, or should they finish the job? Do you support Israel taking out Iran's nuclear facilities, oil refineries, and leaders? Do you blame Biden's fecklessness, as I do, for gas prices skyrocketing shortly because of this war? And which presidential candidate do you think is helped more by this ongoing war in the Middle East? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. We got 4 minutes. We can put you on. 800-288-9227. Should Israel act proportionally or finish the job, as I say? And do you support Israel taking out Iran's nuclear facilities, their capabilities, their oil refineries, which gives them the revenue to kill Americans and Jews and leaders? You know, right now they're trying to kill President Trump, Mike Pompeo, Jeff Bolton, and they fund Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis thanks to Joe Biden. They've enriched them by $100 billion. So, yes, take out their facilities. They're weaker than they ever been. Today I got so many messages from across the board. The liberal Atlantic, the conservative Wall Street Journal, they're all saying it. This is the time. They're sitting ducks. Iran are sitting ducks. They have no air force. In fact, that's one of the quotes from one of the Iranians to the Atlantic today. An unnamed source told the Atlantic in Tehran, we don't have an effing air force, as they said the full word. I don't know what the Iranian military, are thinking. I mean, this is amazing, isn't it? The U.S. leverage in the region is at an all-time low because of Biden and Kamala's fecklessness. Hezbollah has been substantially degraded to the north, and that was their stopgap to attack them. They are the most armed with the most advanced military in ballistics. No more. They're being rendered neutral. It's going to take them about another month or two. They are in a ground war there now, Israel is. They've now lost 9 soldiers. Hezbollah has lost 15, but the capabilities are being destroyed because 60,000 Israelis right now, including Americans, 60,000 Israelis in the northern Israel have been kicked off their land because they've been getting bombed and killed by terrorists from Lebanon, bombing them unprovoked from Israel since October 7th. So the Jews get slaughtered, and Hezbollah out of Lebanon attacks the Jews and kills the Jews in the north, which didn't do anything wrong. So that's what happens. You stand up for yourself, you defend yourself, and you get killed from the terrorists. So you got to kill them. You got to kill them all. You got to wipe them out. And that's what they're doing. And they're going to wipe out the first 20 to 30 miles, roughly, some of that, maybe a little longer, of Lebanon, southern Lebanon, so they don't have the capability to shoot missiles at them and rockets at them to kill their people in the north so they can go back home. They've been living, they've been displaced from their homes for almost a year now. Innocent Israelis in northern Israel because of Hezbollah. So this is it. This is their chance. Biden is feckless. He's weak. Kamala is incompetent and doesn't know what she's doing. And so you have, let me think here. What do we got, guys? October, November, December. You got 4 months to finish off Hezbollah, to make them limp and ineffective and compromised so that they are not a big threat, and then they can be managed. Same thing with Hamas. Now it's time to do Iran. And Yemen does shoot stuff at them, including ballistics, from all the way down there. They're south of Saudi Arabia. Yemen has been attacking Saudi Arabia because you have a Sunni Shia rivalry from Iran, the terrorists. Saudi Arabia is their enemy, and they are attacking each other. So they're shooting ballistics over Saudi into Israel from Yemen. So they can take care of Yemen on their own. Joe Biden refuses to do anything. He's responsible for all this, and this is the same crap Kamala would do. Line's still wide open. Chime in right now. We'll get you on. Should Israel act proportionally or finish the job? Do you support Israel taking out Iran's nuclear facilities, oil refineries, and leaders? By the way, even if it means your gas prices go up. Well, the gas prices are up already because Israel has to defend itself from Joe Biden. They won't do anything. They're ignoring the general cuffs Biden's probably going to put on him. He keeps going after them to lock him on there, and they keep pushing him away and walking away from him and ignoring him. Get out of here, you little fly. You're a little feckless twit. Joe Biden leads by fear. Joe Biden treats Israel worse than he treats Hamas, the terrorists, and Hezbollah, the terrorists, and Iran, the terrorists. Joe Biden snuggles up with Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. And the Houthis more than he does Iran. He condemns Iran more. It is sick, and Kamala is the same way. 800-288-WBB. I saw a liberal Democrat Jew who's been a lifelong Democrat on an MSNBC panel, and she said she's voting Trump. She's in Philly. She's voting Trump. Super liberal. I just looked at her. I'm like, I could tell you're a liberal, and she's like, for the first time I'm voting for Trump. It was all about Israel. So my deduction is she's Jewish and she's smart. Good for her. I don't think she needs the money. She's probably one of these, high-income, double-income liberal families that votes Democrat from the day she was born. But here she is now, and she sees the threat. She goes, I'm a one-issue voter. It's Israel. Boom. Get in there, Trump. Take care of this threat. Israel, do it now while they're feckless, and Biden won't do a dang thing. All right, your call coming up next. I'm also going to tell you this. This is the best time for Bibi Netanyahu to finish the job. You know why? His polls have gone from perilous, where he wasn't going to win again, to now they're on top to the highest numbers in a long, long time. It's amazing. I'll tell you what they are. Plus, much more details on this and audio of Kamala saying Trump is going to lead us to war in Israel and Iran. Well, here we are now with you, Kamala, and then Trump's reaction. All that is next on the Chris Crock Show at 18 minutes after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
If this president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran, the consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers who would be sent and deployed into something that was completely avoidable. Well, in a Harris administration, we wouldn't have gotten ourselves into this mess.
Oh, honey, you and Joe brought us to war now in the Middle East. A couple thousand more of our soldiers deployed, and we have 2 carrier strike groups there. If the second one hasn't arrived, it's coming. We have 3 destroyers there, including the USS Cole, who fired many Tomahawks the other day for the second volley of unprecedented attacks direct from Iran to Israel, this time with hypersonics. Oh, this war is yours. You warned us about a war with Trump, Iran, if Trump got the presidency. Here we are, and it's you, babe. It is you, babe. Own it. Question is, should Israel act proportionally now or finish the job? Proportionally is what Biden wants, which is a disgrace. I think they should finish the job. Do you support taking out Iran's nuclear facilities, oil refineries, and leaders? That's Israel doing it, of course. And do you blame Biden's fecklessness for gas prices about to skyrocket? Actually, they are skyrocketing because of this war now with Iran and Israel. And which presidential candidate is helped more by this ongoing war? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Oil is surging after Biden says the U.S. is discussing letting Israel attack Iranian facilities. By the way, they don't let them do it. We don't let them do it. Joe Biden tries to, but Israel wisely doesn't listen. Netanyahu's coalition is back to majority for the first time. It's because of this wild success with the military that Joe Biden keeps telling them to stop. Latest survey found if elections were conducted now, Netanyahu's party would receive 31 Knesset seats and his rival 15. So that's it, baby. He's out. He's been knocked out. That was his main guy to take him out politically. Okay, I have this amazing piece from the Wall Street Journal on Biden protecting Iran's nuclear program today. It is so damning. I'll share it with you in a moment. Trey in Duncanville, WBAP.
Yes, I'm going to say I think that Israel ought to take out the nuclear facilities and leaders, but leave the oil fields alone. Actually, I think there should be a blockade with the U.S. Navy and not let any ships go outside the Persian Gulf. Oil prices will go through the roof if the oil refineries are destroyed.
You know, they should also take out Iran's Navy. It's not big, but they have a Navy, and it's actually doing things that are not good for us and our allies. So, and they should take out the Yemeni Houthis. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, if you look at the Civil War, Union blockaded the Confederacy. That worked very well. Kennedy, he blockaded Cuba with the Soviet missiles. So, yes, there's a history of blockading work.
Thank you, Trey. I do think that the oil refineries should be destroyed. The people of Iran to take it back are going to need another year or two probably, and at that point we can help them. Ray in Grand Prairie, you're on WBAP.
I think that Iran should take out Iran's nuclear sites and all their minions like Hezbollah and Houthis and things like that. Mm-hmm. Even one of the Iranian leader's sons, I don't know his name, but he said that it's time to take them out now, too.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why Biden is fighting so hard to help Iran develop nuclear weapons. What's he thinking? My 2 cents worth opinion, which is worth nothing to nobody but me, is that the Biden-Harris immigration policy and their open-door policies can lead to a one-world government. Now, maybe protecting Iran against Israel is the Biden-Harris goal to create this one-world government, but if you believe in the Bible, and I do, Satan needs this one-world government to preside over before the Messiah comes. Let Israel finish the job. We should help them.
Yes, and I agree all that. I think you're talking about Hamas's son, who wrote the book Son of Hamas, who's here. Is that the one who said take out all the Iranian leadership?
I don't know his name, but that description sounds just like him, yes.
Yes, okay. Look at all the illegals. I got to roll, but I appreciate your great call. Georgia, look at all the illegals. This just came in the swing states. Georgia got almost 46,000 illegals from Kamala and Joe. North Carolina, 33,000 illegals. Pennsylvania, 26,000 illegals. Arizona, 25,000 illegals. Nevada, 16,000 illegals. Michigan, 13,000 illegals. Wisconsin, 11,000 illegals. There you go. Here's what the Wall Street Journal says about Iran's nuclear program and why it's time to take it out. An Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. Biden said the answer is no. Biden gathered the G7 democracies to use preemptive pressure on Netanyahu to not strike the nuclear facilities and finish the job. That's what he did. He went against Israel and rallied the world to shut him down from any serious attacks. I'm going to give you more details on this. The Journal just destroys Biden and Kamala and the credibility of them in all this. It's damning. I'll share that with you next, plus your call. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Should Israel act proportionally to finish the job? Do you support Israel taking out Iran's nuclear facilities, oil refineries, and leaders? And do you blame Biden's fecklessness for gas prices skyrocketing because of this war, as I do, on all these fronts? And then which presidential candidate is helped more by this ongoing war? Clearly, to me, it's Trump. You'll hear from him on Iran coming up next.
The world right now is spiraling out of control. When I was president, Iran was in total check. The Iranians were starved for cash. Iran was on the verge of bankruptcy. They had no money left. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah, the people they're fighting now. They would have been willing to make any deal. You could have made any deal, but Kamala flooded them with American cash.
News Talk 820 WBAP. That is exactly right. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Should Israel act proportionally, as Joe Biden says, which is just unbelievable? Or should they finish the job? The Atlantic, the Wall Street Journal, and others saying today how naked Iran is. And an inside source in Tehran told the Atlantic, we don't have an effing Air Force. We don't have an effing Air Force. I don't know what the Iranian military, are thinking. So they're naked because their powerhouse to the north of Israel, Hezbollah, has been neutered, and they're going to be finished off to the point of not being able to hurt Israel ever again. According to what we're seeing, the way they're going, they've killed all their leadership. A new replacement for the top leader was killed today. And Hamas, according to a four-star general who was in the Pentagon before retiring when Trump left and Biden took over, Major General Jack Keating said that Hamas has been they've been basically made they're unable to really make. They've been what's the word? They've been neutralized to a point where they're not a threat anymore, which is amazing. And Hezbollah is probably about a quarter of the way to half the way there already. It's amazing. It's beautiful. They're going to just finish this one for all, and they don't have to ask Biden, because he is an embarrassment and he has helped the enemy. He's given comfort and confidence to Iran. So I think they should finish the job. I think they should take out Iran's nuclear facilities, their oil refineries and leaders, and let the people who are good, 80% of them or so or more are good, and they will overthrow the government on their own if they're allowed to. And do you blame Biden's fecklessness for these gas prices? Wall Street Journal saying today that oil prices are skyrocketing. Under the apparently oncoming looming threat to Iran's oil refineries being taken out by Israel shortly. And the Wall Street Journal is saying that taking out the nuclear facilities would prevent Iran from gaining the bomb, including a preemptive military strike against its nuclear facilities. That they could do, they should do possibly a preemptive military strike against the nuclear facilities if they feel necessary. Amen. Now, numbers 800-288-WBAP. Lines wide open. We got 5 minutes to take your call, so chime in right now. We'll get you right on. I wanted to share the rest of this Wall Street Journal piece, because it is absolutely amazing, and it gives us all the information that we need as to why they should take out their nuclear facility and why they are the threat. And I want to share with you, and it was right here in front of me. I don't know where it went. It's hidden. Must be. I literally don't know where it went. I love when that happens. Anyway, it was damning, and I highlighted. I took my notes. It was right here. It's hidden. It's hidden in plain sight. Anyways, it was. That's incredible. Where did this thing go? I'll find it in the middle of the show, and then I'll read it to you. Basically, it was saying that it's wide open. It's Joe Biden's fault, and they should do everything they can now because they're wide open, and that this is Biden's fault. He's let them pump oil and given them $100 billion. He has helped them in so many ways. He's enabled them, and he has put the cuffs on Israel while freeing Iran. I'm just amazed at this thing. It flew away. So when I get it, I'll read it to you. I don't know where it went. I'm probably sitting on it. But I will get to that when I find it. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-9227. I'll tell you what, I want to get into this anyways. The hurricane, what we're seeing in the hurricane is beyond unimaginable. And what we're hearing and what we're going to hear is going to be beyond unimaginable, as you and I know. It just is. We have people right now, 7 days after the storm hit, that still have no water, no power, no food. They're still finding bodies in trees and in bushes. And all in trees from the water, pushing them into a tree after they died from drowning. So I want to play you some audio from this because it's unbelievable what we're seeing. We're seeing a third world country in America. And this is worse than Katrina. Bush was destroyed for 4 days. 4 days of not showing up. 4 days. It has been 7 now. 7. Let me play these sound bites. They're devastating in a swing state. In Georgia's the same way. Governor Kemp unloaded yesterday on Biden. Biden came to Georgia. He wouldn't visit with him. DeSantis came to visit in Florida where they were hit first. DeSantis wouldn't visit with him because Biden is useless. In fact, Kemp said he only made 11 counties declared emergencies in 11 counties. Kemp railed at him. He said we have 90 counties. And then that day he called the White House because they had done nothing. We're talking 4 or 5 days later. He called the White House maybe 6 days later. And the day he called and said, what the hell? Excuse my language. Then all of a sudden the 90 counties got the declaration by the White House. This is an incompetent joke. When this happened, let me give you the countdown. It happened Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 days after the storm hit. On the 4th day, Bush was destroyed for not showing up until 4th day on Katrina. By the way, this is now the second deadliest storm, the second deadliest hurricane in 50 years. The second deadliest hurricane in 50 years. And Kamala and Joe don't show up till 6 or 7 days. And they said, don't worry. Kamala showed up and said, don't worry. I'm going to give you a $750 check from FEMA. It's going to be in your bank account, which you can't even get money out of because the bank ATMs don't work because there's no power. It's going to be in your bank in 10 days. The woman I heard tonight on Fox says, I'm here, and people are driving by with their cameras and filming us like we're a zoo. We're animals in a zoo, and they're driving by. They don't help us. And they said FEMA's not been there. The National Guard's not been there. The Army hasn't been. Nobody's been there. FEMA, we found out today, diverted $640 million that it could have been using today to Joe Biden and Kamala's illegals. FEMA had $1 billion diverted to help Joe and Kamala's illegals. FEMA is out. They are out of funding today, according to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who is in charge of FEMA, apparently. And he says in his Pedo voice, we are out of funding today for FEMA, so you are foobarred. We blew up $1 billion on Kamala and Joe's illegals. Do you like my pedo voice? They literally blew the FEMA budget on their illegals. They reallocated it. Do you understand me? FEMA has been reallocated and redirected. Senator Rick Scott opened that up yesterday because he knows, and he said that yesterday. I told you that. I was blown away. Well, today we see $1 billion. I think most recently $640 million rerouted. Isn't that amazing? I'll give you all these details. You can hear the horror audio out of North Carolina. This is the Katrina, but it's even worse. It's even worse. I will play that for you. A lot of it coming up next. You're going to hear it. It's going to sound horrifying. Georgia and North Carolina, hellscape. No help from Joe and Kamala. By the way, 4 days into it, as I was saying, Joe was on the beach Saturday and Sunday on the third, the first, second, third, on the third and fourth day after it hit. Joe Biden was on the beach both days, and he said, I am helping. I'm calling. I'm on the phone for 2 hours. So he goes in to take a break from the beach, and he's on the phone with 2 hours. Probably got him on speakerphone when he's taking a you-know-what. Yeah, I'm here. You can hear the bathroom echo and the fan. And then Kamala on the fourth day, on Sunday, the third day, she wasn't doing anything. She was out and about. On the fourth day, when people were no food, no waters for 4 days, no power, no money, no roads. The roads are all wiped out. There's no roads. Kamala was in Los Angeles eating beef Wellington, at a $28 million fundraiser with Demi Lovato and all these A-listers. And the first thing she said while people were starving, dying, and hanging carcasses in the trees with no power, no cell service, no water, no food for 4 days, she said, it's great to be back in my hometown. That's what she said. It's great to be home, she said, where she belongs. That's where we're going to send her in November. That's where she's going in January. This is worse than Bush. And then Bush was attacked for doing a flyover and looking out of the plane down on Katrina. She didn't even look out the window, and she wasn't even over the disaster on the fourth or fifth day. She was in a plane pretending to be talking to the FEMA guy through her earpiece on her phone, and the phone wasn't even plugged. The earpiece wasn't even plugged in; it was hanging. And the paper she claimed to be writing on was empty. It was a blank, apparently. That's worse than Bush. Where's the outrage? 800-288-WBAP is the number. 800-288-9227. Must hear audio from suffering victims now. The questions I want to ask for you on this right now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you support draining FEMA for Kamala and Joe's illegals to the point where it cannot fund recovery and aid efforts right now in North Carolina and Georgia? Do you support draining FEMA for all of Kamala and Joe's illegals to the point where it cannot fund recovery and aid efforts in North Carolina and Georgia to the extent that is necessary? Have Kamala and Biden gone AWOL in their response to the hurricane disaster? Have they failed worse than George Bush did on Katrina? This is now the second deadliest hurricane in 50 years. And will it hurt Kamala, or will it hurt Trump, or will it hurt no one in the polls this November? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Looking forward to playing the audio from these suffering people, and it's going to be some horrifying stuff. And I want to hear from you, too. 800-288-WBAP on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. That's coming up at 48 after the hour.
Do you think the government is doing enough?
Honestly, I don't know how you did not have a formal press conference or something from either President Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, how do you not say anything for 4 days? They've been stranded for 4 days, and this is the first we've heard from them at all. FEMA is not on the ground there at all. They are not in these cities. Not in these towns and not in these villages.
Does your relative have food? Does she have water? Does she have the medication she needs?
They have a minimal amount of water. They have a minimal amount of food. They were able to get slightly down the mountain to get a little bit of gas, but they haven't been able to cut their way out yet.
When you say cut their way out, what do you mean?
There's trees down. You have to have chainsaws out there to get the trees out of the roads. And that is if the mudslides didn't take the roads out completely. I can not even tell you how many families, even here outside of Charlotte, that are looking for their loved ones up in that area. No one knows anything.
How's that going to go for swing state Charlotte, major metro area, and everywhere north of there with their loved ones who are staying there on at their second home for the weekend and maybe dead?
We have people on oxygen that are completely out now. We have babies up there with no formula, nothing.
This is like a Katrina on steroids.
We've lost friends. There's been landslides. The day that it happened, it was so bad. Our children thought we were dead. And we had to hang on to boulders, trees, and go through a roaring creek to get out. But we're alive.
We try to find our friends. We can't. We don't know
if they're dead or alive.
There's no power, there's no water, there's no internet, there's no cell phone coverage. We're just it's a disaster.
Just pray for everybody here. Everything's replaceable. Life is not.
No water, barely got food, everything expiring in the fridge. So.
FEMA is not on the ground there at all. They are not in these cities. Not in these towns and not in these villages.
All right, there it is. My questions for you are, do you support draining FEMA for Kamala and Joe's illegals to the point where it now says it cannot it can't fund recovery? It's out of money and aid efforts in North Carolina and Georgia. Have Harris and Biden gone AWOL in their response to hurricane disaster here? Have they failed worse than George Bush did on Katrina? As one person said, this is worse than Katrina. Will it hurt Kamala or Trump or nobody, you think? Think Georgia and North Carolina, where they're hit massively. James in Fort Worth, WBAP.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
So you know the answer to them questions. They have failed the whole world miserably throughout the last 3.5 years. We all know that. And, you know, this deal right here, These people, we weren't allowed to treat people like this in Afghanistan and Iraq. If there was a problem somewhere, you had to go solve that problem immediately, or you got in trouble. And we got American citizens here now, just like you're talking about. They're draining FEMA. They're draining all of our assets to feed these people that are coming across the border illegally. First, they're coming across the border illegally. Secondly, they're committing illegal crimes while they're here in the United States, and we're still continuing to take care. You know what? You got veterans all over the dead. I just fed somebody at Taco Bell. Veteran sitting out there with his legs bandaged up. So what happened to you, brother? Oh, I was in. Well, what happened to you, man? I got some wounds when I was over here. And I said, dude, I need to get. So I'm in fix to get him to the friggin' VA. But you know what? You got guys. He's sitting in front of a Kroger store on Beach Street. This is what infuriates me. But you know what, Chris? Some of this stuff is Trump's and Vance's. You know what? When they were on these debate stages,
we got 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
When they asked him about Waltz about China, Vance had the prime opportunity to go, no, you know what? Not only did he lie about that, but he don't know what an assault weapon is in a combat zone because he wasn't there, was he?
That's exactly right. James, thank you, brother. And you served our country too?
Roger.
Thank you very much for your service and for taking care of that vet today. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Coming up next, Dr. Robert Jeffress, my pastor, the pastor of First Baptist Dallas, one of my sponsors, on why should a Christian vote for somebody as flawed as Donald Trump, and what Kamala policies are antithetical to Christianity. And Dr. Jeffress is very good friends with Trump. What's he really like now after that assassination? Did it rattle him and shake him? All that is next on the Chris Crock Show at 3 minutes after 9 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.